Hello everybody, welcome back to our playthrough of Neverwinter Nights, the original campaign. We just finished up taking out some predatory dire wolves nearby this farm to help out Farmer Pete O'Deal. Let's get back to him.
Greetings.
So, you have returned, my lord. Have you good news? Have you the head of the she-wolf, Silverback? Actually, I have Silverback's head right here. By the gods, man, so you do. Bravo. I imagine that task could not have been a simple task. Allow me to take the bloody thing off your hands now, then. I assume that 300 gold we discussed will be sufficient, yes? I think I've earned a higher reward than that. True. Maybe the pelts aren't worth as much as I led you to believe. Here, 375 gold is all I have. The herd will recover in a few years. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got to make a trip to Port Last to restock the herd. Thank you again, my lord. No problem, sir. Have no fear. Alright, but I have to seriously drop some of this stuff, man. Taking up too much space. Golden circlet needs to go in my inventory. And then also in my hotbar so I can switch it out easy. Alright, so that's good. And I think we're going to head back to town. Just so we can drop off all of our gains. See where we stand as far as our money goes. And we can actually talk to Tomi. Because Tomi will upgrade his quest item for us since we now have the ring of Kalmsham. But first, let's see what happens over here. Hey Sturge, how's it going?
Ah, worthy opponent. Greetings. I am Sturge, the baby killer. Recently escaped from hard time in Waterdeep. My 4 fellow prisoners and I are now among the most wanted criminals along the Sword Coast.
A baby killer? In that case, I'll have to kill you. Not so fast. After all, it isn't my death that you want, but rather the proof of my death. If you had read the bounties posted the length of the Sword Coast, you'd know that you don't need only my tattooed ear as proof. If you'd spare my life and listen to what I have to say, I'd be willing to cut my ear from my head and give it to you as proof. If that were not enough, I'd also be willing to tell you where to find some of other escaped prisoners. They are as dastardly as I, and are worth the same reward. Come now, listen to what I have to say. Surely you are interested in finding out how I, Sturge the baby killer, escaped from the most secure prison in Waterdeep. I don't actually care. I'm done talking to a baby killer. Defend yourself. Yeah, get out of here. Lawful good. No excuses. Put down the baby killer. Oh snap, do I have room for this? Kinda. Yeah. Mithril Splint Mail. This is a good armor set. If you don't have anything else. This is 10 armor. Amongst all the different bits. I think, does that match what we have, or is it one better? Yeah, it's one better than what we have, but I like the slashing and piercing resistance. So we'll hold on to the armor we're currently using. Alright, let me just grab this chest and then we'll head back to town.
Now see what a true warrior looks like.
See? Look at that. The piercing resistance, we didn't take any more damage from that. Alright, back to town we go. We can also advance the quest of the werewolf with Nurik. But I want to make sure that I have enough space for anything he might give us. So we're going to sell him off all the stuff. I'll do all the selling and I'll meet you back here and we'll just try and figure out how much gold I gained. Alright. Alright, I think I've sold off everything that I wanted to sell off, and we increased our loot from about 153,000 I think, all the way up to 211,000 gold pieces. So we are definitely going to get a good chunk of money by the end of this section of the campaign. So, yep, and we've made plenty of space in our inventory now. for more looting in the future. Let's talk to Nurik about the werewolves. We must speak of the werewolves. A grim topic, though I find I can think of little else. Have you been successful? I have had some success in finding some of the boys, actually. Truly, I had little doubt that you would do well. Oh, poor lass is lucky indeed to have you in its midst. I found Bran. Here's his ring. Praise be to Tyr. You have done very well indeed. We are all indebted to you for this. A life restored and a threat pushed aside. All the boys have now been accounted for. It is a relief to see that some measure of peace has been restored at last. Your heroism has served us well, brother. Take this reward, and my thanks. If only this were all over. Sir Carathis remains at large, as does the Black Wolf himself. The task yet remains to track them both, brother. You will, of course, be rewarded once again when that is done, I assure you. Have you a need, brother? Then, my brother, I shall help you however I am able. So yeah, Carathis was the hunter of the Black Wolf, and the Black Wolf was the bad werewolf that we were trying to find. Other than that, I think we're set. So just get healing, and we'll talk to Tomi, get his upgraded quest item, and we'll talk to Eltura about her. Oh, and we can talk to Elaith in the bar as well. Turning in all the gems that they have. Alright, let's talk to Tomi first.
Well now, if it isn't you! Glad I am to see you. Isn't the country wonderful this time of year? So much better than the city with all that, burning and dying. You know.
I'm surprised to see you here, Tomi. Yeah, well, what's a halfling supposed to do? Me, I go where the money is. After all, after you and I went our separate ways, Miss Erebeth there approached me and gave me plenty of money to hop along on this pony ride of hers. We're all supposed to help with the search. Seems like an old Nasher wants to get rid of all the cultists who started this fight. I say good for him. Just goes to show that not all old people are useless and should be killed, you know. Sorry. So you're conscripted into service by Erebeth? I've already been paid by Miss Erebeth, and good coin too, I might add. You'd think this Nasher fellow belched gold at will. I was just told that I'm supposed to help out wherever I can. How sweet and unspecific is that? I don't suppose you actually want something, do you? I could use a good rogue by my side. Well, isn't it a coincidence that I happen to be a good rogue? Fine. This one rabbit town was beginning to bore me anyway. God, Tomi has some weird thoughts about the old people.
What can Tomi do for you?
Just want to talk. Oh, what'd you have in mind, my lord? If we're to become companions, I'd like to know more about you. Well, there's only so much you can know about me, my lord. Tomi Undergallows be the most famous halfling rogue in all of Calimport. That about sums it up. Oh, I've my tales of treachery and deceit, like the likes of which have been told to wide-eyed little Calimshite children for many years. But I doubt you'd be interested in that. Oh, go on. You know you want to tell me. Well, let's see. Tomi had a bunch of friends and a bunch of enemies in his time. There's only been one who's been my arch-nemesis, Samuel Bumbleheart. Sammy and I were pals dating back to the good old days when we used to run through wild through the streets as wee little urchins, stealing avocados and pinching purses. When I started to gain a bit of notoriety to my name, however, Sammy became a mite jealous, poor lad. Fame was always Sammy's thing. He's always loved attention, ever since he did that striptease in the half-orc bar to keep from being pummeled. I've always thought he was a bit of a diva. You seem to rather enjoy the fame yourself. Nah, not so much. It's a bit hard to pick a pocket when you've had 20 suspicious eyes on you. Great with the lasses, though, I'll admit. Sammy was content for a while, but he'd get mad when folks always recognized me first. The guards would chase me down the streets, and he'd complain, "Why didn't they chase me?" Oh, he tried to show me up as a thief. Not being very good, however, it only landed him in prison. In Calimshan, that means you're good as hung. I busted him out the first time. That only embarrassed him. No good deed goes unpunished, you know, so Sammy had to take action. You'd think he'd be thankful for the help. Well, truth is, I didn't really mean to break him out. It was an accident, the kind of that brings down half the prison and causes a mass escape. Happens all the time, trust me. I don't know why Sammy was so mad, really. He just seemed to lose it completely. all that shouting and turning red in the face, it was just so sad. After all, he'd only broken a couple of legs. He could still walk, even if it was with a limp. Could I be held completely to blame? At any rate, Sammy decided enough was enough. It was time to ruin his best pal Tomi once and for all. What did he do? Sammy came up with a plan. Not the brightest plan, I suppose. He was never much of a planner. His last plan, in fact, was a heist that ended up with him being left naked and cold on a ship to Mestika. Well, all right. I did forget to pick him up, but it was his plan. This plan would be different, however. Hee, or so he thought. I'll have to tell you about it sometime, my lord. That time is now. Righto, I was telling you about Sammy's big plan to ruin old Tomi, wasn't I? Oh, yes. So Sammy concocts this plan to have little Tomi thrown in prison, just like he'd been. So he was going to steal the most fabulous gem in Kalimshan, and I was to take the blame for it. If he could steal it, wouldn't that make him famous? I didn't say Sammy was the smartest halfling on the block. In his mind, having me stuck in a Kalimshite prison and ravaged daily by burly convict cellmates was worth almost any price. Ah, Sammy. Maybe he still resented my stealing both his lady friends. Actually, I stole his wife too. Nah, that was years and years before. Anyway, since Sammy wasn't so skilled, he had to come get some help. Ended up leveraging himself to a rather nasty elf by the name of Rhaegar. Rhaegar was good. He was also the meanest rogue in Kalimshan, and Sammy had to practically become his servant to get him to agree. Rhaegar was also a pretty good pal of mine, though Sammy didn't know that. Thing was, I'd already been planning to heist that jewel myself all along. When Rhaegar tipped me off to Sammy's plan, I laughed so hard I just about peed in my britches. I'm beginning to feel sorry for this Sammy fellow. Well, he was a fellow to pity at times. Once I remember I left Sammy in the dark bazaar by accident. He showed up 3 days later, pitch white and devoid of hair. Those were the days. I did the only thing I could, of course. I made a plan of my own and went ahead with the heist. Until the night of the heist, I didn't let on that I knew what Sammy was up to. He acted all innocent, of course, didn't say a word to me. He even told me to get lost. It was quite a ruse, I tell you, but I saw through it all. He was no friend of mine, after all. He had become my arch-nemesis. Your arch-nemesis? Exactly. Like a cunning serpent, he had hidden himself as my friend. Never would I have suspected simple Sammy, this childhood pal I had de-pantsed in front of the Molokai Girls' Choir. Still, I'd only wanted to teach Sammy a lesson. What happened to him that night of the heist was quite tragic. Oh no. Aye, it's terrible. The one thing I truly regret in my life. I shall have to tell you about it sometime. Let's just go on with your quest. I don't want to think about Sammy any longer. Man, I am sorry with this accent. I feel like I'm switching back and forth between British street urchin and, like, Australian.
What can Tomi do for you?
I just want to talk. The night of the jewel heist, right? I suppose you've been a fine friend, my lord. I can tell you about it. The gem we were after was none other than the fabled Star of Kalimshan. It's not the most valuable ruby in the land, but it's certainly one of the more notorious. According to legend, the Pashas of Kalimshan gifted it to their wives on their wedding night, and the stone glows from within, filled with the tears of their lost innocence, or so the story goes. My daring plan, and Sammy's, was to pluck the stone from the depths of the royal palace, from the very chambers of the Sil Pasha's wife herself. Why steal it if it wasn't valuable? The ruby's value is more in the fame one would get, my lord. The Sil Pasha would never rest until he captured whoever was responsible for its theft. At any rate, the night came. Sammy and Rhaegar stole into the palace ahead of me, with Sammy having no idea of my presence. Rhaegar left a trail that was quite easy to follow. I remember being impressed at the time that things were going so well. No guards alerted, no problems whatsoever. I thought maybe Sammy's foul luck had finally turned for once. And then? Well, of course Sammy tripped over a fold in the carpet and took a spill into a suit of armor. It fell over him into 2 others, and resulting clatter would have woken Nebuchadnezzar's dead brother-in-law. Poor Rhaegar turned white as a virgin's dainty bottom when he saw the horde of soldiers charging down the hall. He leapt out the window without first considering we were over the lion pit. Poor fellow. What happened to Sammy? The guards ran right past the pile of armor, didn't even think to look for a small halfling buried under there, luckily for Sammy. Anyway, Give old Sammy some credit for stubbornness. He climbed out from under that armor and still came for the ruby. Found me plucking it from its pedestal, in fact. He was surprised to see me, to say the least. I decided to give him a piece of my mind, as I recall. Why, Sammy, I said, why did you betray me? I've never done anything to you. Oh, you must have liked that. I never got to hear his response, oddly. He just turned all purple, and his eyes bulged out, and he spluttered a lot. Looked rather like some outraged kobold. The guards ran in just then, and it was pandemonium. There was fighting and screaming and running. Last I remember, I dived into the sea and woke up 3 days later on a freighter bound for Sult. Want to hear the funny part? For all that, Sammy was a terrible thief. He was a wonderful pickpocket, stole the ruby off me, he did, and had nothing to show for all that. What happened to Sammy? Not sure exactly. I heard he'd ended up on a slave ship and somehow got sold to one of the high captains in Luskan, poor sod. Me? I'd like to track down that ruby one of these days, the Star of Kalimshan. Ah, it'd still be worth it to make me famous. I have a ruby here. Is this what you're looking for? By Brandabora's hairy feet, it is. Where in Faerun did you get that? I found it in a wizard's tower, along the south road. Huh, so Sammy did make it, up hereabouts after all. Probably slaved away on some wizard's kitchen until he slipped into a vat of ale and drowned. Ah well. Thanks for finding it, my lord. I'll take a nice spot on my mantle, if I had a mantle, that is. Wish I had something aside from some pocket lint to pay you back. All I can offer you is my thanks and friendship in return. I'm not sure I want your friendship considering what happened to Sammy. You have a point there, my lord. Well, let's find out your occultist and kick some zealot butt. Alright. And I believe that gives us 125 experience points, sorry, 200 experience points, and an improved Ring of the Rogue. Let's go check that out. Here's our new ring. And we now have a dex bonus of +3, and a disabled trap and an open lock of +2. Not that we'll end up using that, but the dex bonus to 3 could be useful at some point. I think I'm better off on my own. Yes, go. Alright, let's get out of here. Let's go talk to Altura next. Or actually, Eliath is in between here and there. So let's talk to him first. Or Eliath. This guy's apparently decently well known in the Forgotten Realms novels and such.
How do you do? Have you had any luck acquiring the gems? Or is there something else you need?
I do have one of the gems right here. Ah yes, the gem that the wizard refused to give up to me. Does that fool still live? No, do not answer that. I would truly prefer not to know. Were he intelligent, he would have made the deal I offered. Here are the 200 gold pieces I promised. Might you have another of the gems on you, or shall I have to wait? I do have one of the gems right here. I see. This is the gem that the warrior woman possessed indeed. She refused to deal with me, but I had no problem with you, or you with her. Here are the 200 gold pieces I promised. Might you have another of the gems on you, or shall I have to wait? I have the last gem. Ah, the final gem. How glorious. As agreed, I have your 400 gold pieces and the item I promised you right here. Alright, let's put on all of our persuade gear. These gems were difficult to acquire. I think I deserve more than you're paying me. Very well. I understand your point well enough. I was a smuggler once after all. I'll throw in a further 300 gold pieces. And let me take the gem off your hands. Ah, it'll be good to return home. I cannot thank you enough for delivering the gems to me. Now I can at last take my daughter to Evermeet. As I promised, I cannot wait to show her the Coralon's Grove. Farewell to you, friend. Perhaps we shall meet again someday. And I guess he just leaves, which means you can't use him as a merchant anymore once you hand over the gems. Interesting. We weren't really going to purchase anything from him, but good to know in case you are a rogue type and like browsing his wares. Alright, next up is Altura. We have a lot of money now. 213,000 gold pieces. What's up, Altura?
Well, hello. Have you exciting news for me, or is this just a routine visit? By the way, I'm pleased to see you again.
I have one of the tomes you seek. That is most excellent news. Please, let me see what you have. Oh, this is so very exciting. Offer Tome of Ice. Ah, the Tome of Ice. Another fine work to add to my collection. I thank you for this. This should keep you quite happy indeed, I think, don't you? Now, tell me what else might do for you. Surely you can provide me with more than that. The tomes are rare indeed. Fine, I will give what I can, but do not ask for more. Excellent. Muhaha. A good night, sir. Come again. More money. I just remembered that, actually, we can turn in the last bounty hunter ear that we found to the bounty hunter's office, and I believe that actually pushes the quest forward. I think we found all the... guess we have to go in through the main door. Pushes the bounty hunter quest forward, and I think it gives us the location of the 5th bounty.
Thank the gods you've come. While you were gone from port last, that fiend of a half-orc, Yeskar, kidnapped my Shaldrissa.
He demanded a ransom for her return, and it was paid, but still he did not return her. Please, I beg of you, get my Shaldrissa back. She's my only child. Do you know where she's being held? Aye, I do. The old Port Last mines are to the north of town, near the Green Griffin Inn. He holds her there. I am sure of it. It is a treacherous place, and easy to defend, which is why I dare not approach. I can only hope you have the skills I don't. Very well, I'll do it. The gods have mercy. Here, allow me to give you the bounty money at least. It'd be good to know Yeskar has none of the other killers with him in this. Go to the old mines by the Green Griffin Inn to the north of town then. They are locked and you shall need this key. Hurry, lad, hurry. Alright, so I guess we just handed over the last ear, Sturge's ear. And then we can go rescue his daughter. But we will hold off on that until later. We'll probably spend an episode going around tying up loose ends before the end of the act. And that will be one of them. I know that that quest is finished up in the north, and the werewolf quest, I think, has some stuff going on in the north. What's this? Encircling Scale gives you immunity to poison and dark vision, and provides 3 charges of the poison spell. We don't really need this, so we will instead sell it to Nerd. Nice. Alright. Back at it, I suppose. Let's switch into our combat gear as we're heading out of town. Excellent. So we're back on the South Road, or the farmlands, I should say. There is a little bit of back and forth that you have to do between the 2 different farm sites. Because you have to convince one person of something at one place and somebody else of something at a different place. And there's a little bit of back and forth. Who's this Ingo guy?
Hello.
Mind you don't trample the corn now. Can I ask you some questions? I'll answer a question or 2, provided you don't take too long. I guess we don't want to talk to him too that much. He doesn't have anything interesting to say. Aye, get out and stay out as far as I'm concerned. Oof. Rude boy come, you know. I do not feel bad about thieving from you. You were rude to me, and that justifies my bad actions. Makes sense to you guys, right? Yep, makes sense to me. Alright. Now we're in his home. He doesn't lock his front door, so in we go. He's got some interesting artwork on the wall. And we have to talk to this young gentleman right here. He will give us a quest. Sorry, we gotta break down your door. My bad. You didn't need that door, right? You don't need these clothes in this armoire, do you? You have a dresser. You'll be fine. Also, this kid is obviously a nerd. Look how big that bookshelf is. Alright.
Hi there.
Hey, who do you think you are barging into a man's room like that? That door was locked for a reason. Oh, man. He was whacking it. Who are you? I'm Eric, Ingo's son. Now that's as polite as I'm gonna be until you tell me why you broke into my room. I was just exploring. An adventurer, are you? Well, go explore somewhere else, will you? Whatever your reason for being here, you can turn around and leave, unless you have something important you want. I'm looking for work, if you know of any. I could sure use a favor right now, and maybe you're a man who can help. Interested in the details? Tell me of this favor. My pa might have told you that I've been feeling a little bit down lately. Well, he doesn't even know the half of it. Sure, I'm a little heartbroken, but it's that tease, Constance O'Deal. She knows she has me wrapped around her little finger, so all she does is toy with me. Oh, I'm such a fool. She wanted to see me ma's brooch, so I brought it over for her. Now the witch won't give it back. Forget my stupid heart. If I don't get that brooch back, Pa will have my hide instead. Okay, I'll do it. You will? She's Farmer O'Deal's daughter, the one who keeps cattle up by the waterfalls. Do whatever it takes to get me ma's brooch back, short of laying a finger on her. Look at me. I still worry for her, even now. Alright, later. Return to me with the brooch, and you shall have your reward. This guy wants to take back the jewelry he gave his girlfriend. We can go be the repo man. We don't mind. What a nice day to be a farmer. The sun is shining. Skies are blue. Everything's blue. Why is everything blue? Alright, back to the O'Deal's farm. Luckily the two farms are not too far apart. And we know where Constance is. Let's see if we can be persuasive. Constance. Constance.
Well, hello there.
Well, a handsome stranger in the bedroom of the farmer's daughter. I wonder where such an encounter could lead. She just called me a handsome stranger. I know that I'm ugly as fuck. Although I guess my charisma's up at 14, and since I'm wearing all this stuff, she can't see my face. I have a helmet of persuasion on. I want to speak with you about Eric's brooch. He told you about that, huh? Well, I tried to get him to leave me alone, but he persisted. I told him there was never going to be a relationship between us, but he wouldn't listen. I was going to give it back to him if he promised to leave me alone, but now I need it. The gold I can get for selling it might help Pa replace the cows killed by the wolves. Be reasonable. Ingo treasures that brooch because it reminds him of his wife. That may be so, but it will also fetch a fine price in Port Last, enough to buy a couple head of cattle to replace those killed by wolves of late. For but a peasant's brooch you'll have my undying love. All the love in the world won't buy a head of cattle, but you sure are a sweet talker. But I'm the one who used that trick on Eric, remember? Look, 250 gold would buy us a healthy bull. Let us rebuild the herd. If you have any pity in you, you'll at least give at least that, please. Her dad just gave us like 300 gold for helping clear out the wolves. Why is the herd so important? My pa's a cattle rancher and a good one too. Without a proper herd, though, we've nothing. There won't even be food on the table. Alright, fine. We don't want to threaten her, so I guess we'll just pay her the money. 250, deal. Give me a second. I have the brooch right here in my pocket. Here it is, and I hope that fool Eric has learned not to give his heart so freely. Now, is there anything else I can do for you? Yes, on our way. I feel like there's some way to overpower her and take the brooch without killing her, you know? return the stolen property. Oh well, the option was not given, so instead we gave her 250 gold pieces. Luckily, Eric will pay us more, pretty sure. Where this kid got, you know, more than 250 gold pieces, I'll never know. You have to realize the amount of money that I have right now, 250 gold pieces. An outrageous sum of money. Or 218,000. Like, you work for a day as like a dockhand, you'll get like a couple silver, I think, or 1 silver. Which is 1/10 of a gold piece. I have a ridiculous amount of money.
Hi there.
How goes the search? Have you recovered the brooch, or is there something else I can do for you? I have the brooch. How did you ever manage to convince her? Actually, never mind. I probably don't want to know. Now, about that reward you mentioned. Oh, yes, of course, the reward. Here you go. 500 gold pieces in exchange for the Ma's old brooch. She wasn't easy to convince, you know. I think you could spare a little more. I suppose you did earn a little something extra. Very well. Here's another 100 gold. But now I must take my leave. Me pa was getting word I'd never run those errands for him. Where'd this kid find 600 gold pieces? This must be the most successful farm ever. And the dad overpays his son for the farm work. In any case, I think that is where we will leave today's episode. We will tread into the hills and beyond in the next one. Right over here. See what else this place has to offer and go further into the Charwood. Alright, I'll catch you guys next time.